Samsung Galaxy S5 is an Android smartphone produced by Samsung Electronics, which serves as the immediate successor to 2013's Galaxy S4. Unveiled on February 24, 2014 at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Spain, it was released on April 11, 2014 in 150 countries. As with the S4, the S5 is an evolution of the prior year's model, placing a particular emphasis on an improved build with a textured rear cover and IP67 certification for dust and water resistance, a more refined user experience, new security features such as a fingerprint reader and private mode, expanded health features, and an updated camera. The Galaxy S5 received mostly positive reviews. While praised for the improvements to its design, display, software, and camera, the S5 was criticized for its fingerprint scanner and hardware improvements over its predecessor. Specifications, hardware and design. The design of the S5 evolves upon the design of the S4. It features a rounded, polycarbonate chassis carrying a modern glam look, forks metal trim and a removable rear cover. Unlike past models, the S5's rear cover uses a higher quality soft plastic and is dimpled to improve grip. The S5 is IP67 certified for dust resistance, and for water resistance in up to 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes. As such, the S5's micro USB 3.0 port uses a removable cover. The S5 is available in black, blue, gold, and white color finishes. The S5 screen is a 5.1-inch 1080p Super AMOLED panel, which is slightly larger than that of the S4, and allows for automatic brightness and gamut adjustments. Below the screen are 3 buttons. The physical home button in the center contains a swipe-based fingerprint reader. The recent apps and back buttons are capacitive. In accordance with Android 4.0 human interface guidelines, the S5 no longer uses a menu key like its predecessors, although its button layout is still reversed in comparison to other Android devices with the S5's button layout. The S5 includes a 16-megapixel rear-facing camera, which offers 4K video recording, phase detection autofocus, real-time HDR photos and video, and an image sensor with Samsung's ISO-CELL technology, which isolates the individual pixels inside the sensor to improve its ability to capture light. Next to the camera's flash on the rear of the device is a heart rate sensor, which can be used as part of the S-Health software. The S5 is powered by a 2.5 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 801 system-on-chip with 2 GB of RAM. Although not mentioned during the keynote presentation, a variant with an octa-core Exynos 5422 system-on-chip was also released in multiple markets. Like the previous model, it uses 2 clusters of 4 cores. 4 Cortex-A7 cores at 1.5 GHz, and 4 Cortex-A15 cores at 2.2 GHz. Depending on resource usage, the SoC can use the power-efficient A7 cores for lighter processing loads, and switch to the A15 cores for more demanding loads. Unlike previous iterations, however, the Exynos 5422 can run both sets of cores at the same time instead of only one at a time. For connectivity, it supports 802.11 AC MIMO Wi-Fi and LTE. The S5 contains a 2800 mAh battery. Its software also contains an ultra-power saving mode to further extend battery life. When enabled, all non-essential processes are disabled, and the screen switches to only rendering in white on black. Samsung claims that with ultra-power saving on, an S5 with 10% charge remaining can last for an additional 24 hours in standby mode. In June 2014, Samsung unveiled an LTE-A version of the S5. Only available in South Korea. Software: the S5 ships with Android 4.4.2 KitKat, and Samsung's TouchWiz software. Unlike TouchWiz on the S4, the S5's TouchWiz has been given a more refined interface with a flatter and geometric look, although certain aspects of the changes were influenced by a recent patent licensing deal with Google, which requires that Samsung's TouchWiz interface follow the design of stock Android closer. The S5 adds the Galaxy Note 3's My Magazine feature to the leftmost page on the home screen. The settings menu was updated with a new grid-based layout, a kids mode was added, the download booster tool allows large downloads to be split across LTE and Wi-Fi to improve speed, while the S-Health app was given expanded functionality, integrating with the new heart rate sensor on the device, along with a new Gear 2 smartwatch and Gear Fit activity tracker. A toolbox function allows a menu of apps to be displayed on the side of the screen. The S5 contains a number of new security features. The fingerprint scanner can be used to unlock the phone, while an SDK is available so third-party developers may offer fingerprint-oriented functionality in their apps. For example, PayPal integrated support for the fingerprint sensor to authenticate online purchases. The S5 also adds private mode, which allows users to maintain hidden apps and file folders that cannot be accessed without additional authentication. The camera app was updated with a new shot and more menu that allows users to make edits to photos after they are taken, and also adds a new selective focus mode. The AT&T, Sprint and Verizon variants remove the download booster feature. Model variants. Several different model variants of the S5 are available, with most variants differing only in support for regional network types and bands. SIM format for all variants is micro SIM, which can have one or two depending on model. In addition, there are two more rugged variants of the S5, the S5 Active released on May 30, 2014 on AT&T and the S5 Sport is to be released on July 25, 2014 on Sprint that have a few differences compared to the S5. Differences between the S5 Active, S5 Sport and the S5, they have better protection against shocks, extreme temperatures, humidity, and high altitudes. They have a MILA 10G rating. They feature 3 physical buttons, instead of the S5's home button with 2 capacitive keys. They do not have the fingerprint scanner, they are only available with 16 GB of storage. They weigh 171 kg. Additional differences between the S5 Active and the S5, a physical active key on the phone's spine that launches the camera, takes photos, and also calls up the Activity Zone app, smoother back surface compared to the S5, it comes in titanium gray, camouflage green, and ruby red. Additional difference between the S5 Sport and the S5, it comes in cherry red and electric blue. Launch. The S5 was first announced at the 2014 Mobile World Congress alongside Lark Technologies, which developed the technology behind the motion coprocessor included on the phone. Samsung executive, J.K. Shin, opened the presentation with a list of features users wanted since the launch of the S4. Reception. Critical reception. The S5 received mixed reviews, with many critics arguing that the S5 was simply an evolution of the previous model and did not contain enough significant changes for existing S4 owners. Although reviewers noted the slightly better appearance and build quality of the S5 as an improvement over the S4, Samsung was again criticized for not making any significant changes to the design of the device in comparison to previous Galaxy S series models, and for not using metal or a higher quality plastic. The display of the S5 was praised for having a high quality, not being as oversaturated as previous models, and having a wide range of viewing angles, brightness states, and gamut settings to fine-tune its appearance. Reviewers also noticed that, despite the high power of its processor, some apps and interface functions suffered from performance issues, indicating that the S5's operating system may not have been completely optimized for its system-on-chip. The S5's interface was praised for having a cleaner appearance than previous iterations. However, it was still criticized for containing too many unnecessary features and settings. The S5's camera received mostly positive reviews for the improvements to image quality provided by its ISO image sensor, but was deemed to still be not as good as its competitors, particularly in the case of low-light images. While the S5's camera interface was praised for having a streamlined design, it was criticized for taking too long to load, and the selective focus features were panned for being inconsistent in quality. While praised for providing more uses than the Touch ID function on the iPhone 5s, the fingerprint sensor was panned for requiring an unnatural vertical swiping gesture, having inconsistent and unforgiving results, and for being inconvenient in comparison to a password or PIN in most use cases due to these shortcomings. The Berlin-based security research labs found that because the S5's fingerprint sensor could easily be spoofed, allows unlimited chances, does not automatically require a PIN after 48 hours of inactivity or on startup, and can be used for more than just unlocking the phone, it gives a would-be attacked, SIG an even greater incentive to learn the simple skill of spoofing fingerprints. Engadget considered the heart rate sensor to be similarly unforgiving and sometimes being inaccurate in comparison to other heart rate trackers, while The Verge felt that it was a redundant addition due to the concurrent introduction of the Samsung Gear Fit, which also includes a heart rate tracker. Sales: the S5 shipped to retailers 10 million units in 25 days, making it the fastest-selling smartphone in Samsung's history. Samsung shipped 11 million units of the S5 during its first month of availability, exceeding sales of the S4 in the same period by 1 million units. Demo: an interactive simulation of the Galaxy S5 can be found here. It presents some of the phone's features and functionality. See also, Samsung Galaxy S series, comparison of Android devices, comparison of smartphones, references. External links, official website.